Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you are in the world. You know how you have bonus tracks on a CD or bonus features on a DVD? Well, a lot's been going on, so we thought, you know what? Let's have a Sunday Brews. So here we are. First of all, we're welcoming someone back from their holiday. Mr. Ben Kaufman, how are we, sir?
Good. We've taken a bit of the sun. I'm eating terrible food again and spending too much money. Yeah, back to business. And we've missed a load of things. It is the Canadian Grand Prix at the moment, Brian. So we're watching live the Canadian Grand Prix. So if you hear noises past Brian's window going vroom, it's just George Russell winning the thing. And we're going to get into it.
Yeah. It's in Montreal, which is about 5 hours north. So if you do hear a car, be very, very, very concerned. Yeah. And of course, Roadman Dave's with us as well. Dave, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Before everyone kicks off, I am wearing the red top, but it is my Wales.
I've just
playing tonight. Yeah, they are
get off of my show. Get off of my show.
We've been in the back end for 10 minutes, and that's the first time I've actually clocked.
It does look kind of orange, though. It does look kind of orange, but yeah, it's my Wales top because they are playing tonight, and I'm going to watch it. So, yeah.
Okie dokie. So, right, just a couple of things before we get into the actual show. First of all, I see a lot of people, and I've been receiving a lot of messages about, obviously, I had to get my brain CT scan results on Friday. And I can see Sue Smith, the diamond, in the house already. So big up to Sue and to everyone. So all things that they were searching for, i.e. onset dementia or anything serious that they were looking for, has come back absolutely clear. Thank God. They said I have a normal brain, and everyone I've messaged has said, what, you, normal brain? Ha, ha, ha.
Lying is not acceptable on my show, Brian. None of us have normal brains here. None of us have normal brains here. The dictator
I'm going to get a second opinion, normal brain. What do they know? they have seen a shadow on something that they want to look into a bit more. But thankfully, all of the major things that they thought it could have been, it isn't. So there's relief for me, Ilana, and everyone. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for all the support, whether it be I speak to you on the phone, social media, here in the chat. Thank you so much. And talking about ill health, we just want to send a massive, massive, massive get well soon to Alan Hansen, who it's breaking like wildfire, has been rushed to hospital and is very, very ill. That's why you're wearing red as well, aren't you? Because of Liverpool, aren't you? You're Alan Hansen appreciation. Listen, he was anyone that got to see him play.
Just for today.
Anyone that got to see him play football, one of the most, like Rio Ferdinand, one of the most cultured centre backs you would ever see at that time. Probably the original cultured centre back. And obviously, a lot of people will know him, and I still think he's the best pundit that ever worked for Match of the Day. He was outstanding. So everyone here is wishing Alan Hansen a speedy recovery. Guys, you got anything to say about Alan Hansen?
I just wish him more well.
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
Hopefully he gets a recovery. Obviously, the news was that he's very, very ill. So fingers crossed, he recovers.
There we go. And on that note, Ben, let's say hello to everyone because there's 130 people in already.
Let's see who's in the audience this evening for a quick drink. We've got Stu Boy. Good to see you, Sunshine. Good to see you, mate. Hopefully you're well. YouTube member. We got Tom Thacker. Good to see you. Good to see you. Tony Rodriguez, Mr. Sweden. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. YouTube member. Sue Smith, the diamond, is in the house. Good to see you. We got Andrew Gregory, YouTube member, saying, evening, guys. Good to see you, Andrew. Rinketic, Mark Swift. We got Tweaks, 1978, YouTube member. Rich Sman, YouTube member. Chica! Good to see you. We got Mark Cousins, the sheriff, is in the house. We got Radiated from the Guardians of the Pombo. Good to see you. We got Ryan McFarland, Fran, YouTube member. Ian Ferguson, MZ. We got Swifty. Good to see you. Good to see you. Brian, Paul123, Colin Cross, Iggy. Buonasera, amigo.
Big up, Iggy, brother.
Buonasera. We got Dragon D's Nuts, the best name in Spurs YouTube. Right, what are we talking about? What's on the news today, boys? What's on the news?
Where are we starting?
And we got Dexter
Right.
as well. Good to see you.
Big up, Dexter.
Where do you want to start, Dave? You've prepared a load of thingamajigs.
Well, I think some big news. I think the best place to start is with this guy. The good old Ndombele. Ndombele.
I think you have to say
Sweet
that
game,
was.
man.
I think you have to say, Dave, that's the slimline Ndombele.
Yes. I found a good picture of him. Well, Fabrizio Romano tweeted today that Ndombele is set to leave as a free agent. We're talking with him, obviously, to details and all that to end his contract. Finally, after so long, £200,000 a week, an absolute dread of a player that just had no attitude to play for us. And I hate to say this, but also a player who's a part of Tottenham, who went out on loan and has won more trophies than he's had appearances this year for us.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Ben, what's your thoughts?
The biggest, in the words of Iggy, the biggest, most waste of talent on the planet. This man could do anything he wanted with a football. Some even likened him to your hero, Paul Gascoigne, for some of the things he could do with a football. And he wasted it. He wasted it eating burgers, doing this, terrible attitude. What could have been? What a footballer this man could have been. He had his best spell for Tottenham Hotspur under Jose Mourinho, in my opinion. Some of the assists against Manchester City, made a really good assist in that game, broke the lines in that game. The goal against Sheffield United, the outside of the foot when he scored that goal. The goal against Newcastle, his debut goal from outside the box into the top corner under Pochettino. The man scored a load of good goals. He knew what he was, a talent. He was a talent, and he threw it all away. It's a real shame. I'm really happy that he's finally gone. Apparently, breach of contract is being floated about the news, so hopefully they might be able to save a tiny bit of money as well off the feed for breach of contract. We never know.
Yeah,
but, as we all know, big up to Timothy Atiba.
Yeah, listen, I am with this. Listen, whatever's happening, whether it's breach of contract is what they're using or whatever. And I've said this to people behind the scenes now. I'll say it here. I don't care if I'm waiting for Spurs' official pages to actually announce this has happened. Obviously, it's gathering pace and it looks like it is going to happen. Whether once it's happened, I will quote retweet it and say, well done, Tottenham. I will do. And I know some people go, what are you saying well done for? There's been years and years and years where this guy will go out on loan again. And it will be off the wage bill, out of sight, out of mind, and then we'll let him go on a free. I've wanted to see my football club run like a football club and not stand on ceremony and not just do things to get players out on loan, to get players off the wage bill, out of sight, out of mind. This is a big step. Not a big step forward in me changing my stance, not a goddamn chance. But like I said, the way I'm looking at this now is I've spent so many years just banging everything against the club that people are like, you can't even see the wood from the trees with, if there's a bit. This is where we got to look. When there is a bit of praise, you are allowed to say, well done for doing something the correct way. Has it taken 2 years too long? Yes, it has. But if you look at it in this year alone, whether they're getting near the end of their contracts or not, Lloris has gone, Dyer's gone, and Ndombele is going, Tanganga, the players are going. Now, the big part of it is you've got the players out, you've cleared the wage bill, now go and bring in genuine quality.
Yeah.
There's no excuse now. You've cleared the deck. I think someone told me before Tanguy and when those four released, that was £370 a week. Sorry, £370,000 a week saved off the wage bill.
Yeah.
Well, now you're looking close to 600,000 per week. Yeah. So trying to get these players, whether it be an EzE, whether it be a Gibbs White, whether it be a striker, before we even talk about the budget that is available that no one knows, there is £600,000 roughly, or to the nearest 100,000 off the wage bill, clear and available. So let's hope.
Or we can sign 4 more Timo Werners.
This is the thing. Do we go out and bring in the genuine quality, or do we go and do quantity again? I'm hoping, as all Spurs fans are, that this will be the time that we go, right, we get rid of the deadwood.
Yeah.
We've got rid of a lot of them. Listen, I think it's only Lo Celso left to go now. For if you look at it for Pochettino's, obviously there was Jack Clark, Tanguy, Lo
Celso, the 2 left from Pochettino.
Yeah, but Davies was
and Sonny, of course.
So I'm hoping it's the side of things to come. Now, I think even the hardest Levy out people, and I consider myself right up there with a lot of them, can say when it comes to deadwood out, whether it's too late, too little, too late, whatever, they're gone. They're going. Finances are getting cleared for it. Now I want to see what we're doing with the outgoing replicated, bringing in quality. But we'll have to wait and see. So if this does go ahead, I will say well done, Spurs. Welcome to the Premier League and acting like a big boy club.
Yeah.
Rather than just handing people out on loan. So it's a small pigeon step in the right direction. But I want to see large, massive steps made to changing it. So I've got to give credit. If I've always said, haven't I, Ben, when we've been streaming for years, if I'm man enough to criticise, I've got to be man enough to praise.
You've got to, because it's just unfair on the club. We're the people that do this. We're the guys that do this on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Now, let's have a look. Let's see what they do. If they do something good, it will shut us up. I want to be put in the mud because mud is very good for the skin. It makes it all lovely and soft. It means you don't have to purchase anything on L'Oreal products.
I just want to say one thing because I've just seen my very good friend Fergie's in the chat. Yeah. And this is the thing. Fab has also come out with this one more attacker, which I'm hoping is not the case. But again, we're going to have to take this all stuff with a pinch of salt. Like I just said, doing the stuff the right way, and then you hear something like that, but that is just talking about forwards. It's not talking about
subject to getting people off the wage bill.
Exactly.
Let's say we get a couple off the books, then we will replace them.
Exactly.
There are a couple of positions we need to fill, but we do also need to sell some players and we need to buy some proper quality.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Who's next on the list?
Well, you already mentioned him, but Giovani Lo Celso. Again, Fab came out saying that we're planning to part ways this summer with 1 year left on his contract. Real Betis are the ones who are interested in, but nothing advanced yet as Betis need to work on exits, including Nabil Fekir.
Yeah.
So, Lo Celso, again, another midfielder that just didn't exactly work for us. He cost a large amount of money. And another player that, again, we need out of this club. These are the type of players that have been held on too long. He's very injury prone. We know that. And it's just not working for us. So it's another player on a high wage, not contributing to this team. So there's another one that we're looking at getting out of. And hopefully that happens again. Again, a player who has talent, but on the opposite of Ndombele, Lo Celso does have the right attitude. He's just got the wrong body for it.
Yeah. He performed well for Argentina. So what Giovani Lo Celso needs is what Lukaku had at Inter when he got managed by Antonio Conte. He had massive injuries at Chelsea and massive injuries in his career. The moment he went to Inter, Antonio Conte got a specialist doctor that only worked directly with him and he fixed his issue and he never had an injury again because of it. That's what we need. That's what we need with Giovani Lo Celso. We need a manager that's going to sign him his own doctor and send him to his specialist to figure out what is wrong with why he's getting injured all the time. But it's never going to happen with Tottenham because we love to do everything we love to do everything the way we do. I don't know the exact workings, but I don't think all the medical team is in house. I think they bring a lot. I think they bring a lot of it from outside places, which is why it doesn't fully work. We need to start bringing more of our medical team, actual good medical team, because again, #sack the medical team. We need to bring some more medical officials in that can sort out these niggling injuries with players, because we've had, ever since I was a kid, we've had at least 1 or 2 players in that squad that has had a long-term injury, whether it's been a Darren Anderton, a Ryan Sessegnon, a Tom Huddleston, a Ledley King. We've had so many players with long-term injuries that could possibly have been fixed, but haven't been fixed because of our medical system.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have to say, I was having this chat. Swifties just put it in the chat. I think Giovani Lo Celso is a good player. He's a very good player.
Very good player.
But the problem we have with him, and this is where it's come down to it, can any Spurs fan, hand on heart, say they can rely on him? And I don't mean to dig us out of a game when we're losing or drawing or needs that spark of creativity. Can we rely on him to stay fit when needed? And I think, unfortunately, throughout however many managers he's had, he just hasn't been able to do it. And listen, he came on against Manchester goddamn City for 10 minutes and he couldn't play against Sheffield United because he was injured.
Yeah.
And we haven't got time for this anymore. As good as he can be, and listen, Lionel Messi speaks about him so goddamn highly. Yeah. Whenever he goes to Spain or we send him out on loan, he's done incredibly well out on loan. He'll come back to Spurs. I mean, if you look at it, the 2 games that he played when Maddison was out, Manchester City, the 3-3 and the 2-1 defeat to Villa, he was fantastic. He was actually showing some real form and some real promise. And then, again, an injury or a slight knock took him down. This guy gets slight knocks followed by midterm knocks, and we just can't rely on him. And if that's taking up a squad player, this is the thing. One thing we've got to look at, as good as he may be, we can't be sentimental with these players anymore.
He's taking up a foreign spot.
Yeah,
foreign spot.
We can't be on his day he's good. Yeah. We got to keep him because on his day is a very, very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
If this guy could stay fit, I'd have absolutely no drama. No drama if he picked up a couple of slight knocks and was out for 3 or 4 weeks at a time. Fine. But he's not. It's always longer. It's always longer. And I think, again, it's part of that culture and that time at Spurs where these days are coming to an end, where we're not just going to keep people there, just letting them get away with things or keeping players that are injury prone and can't help the club. So I hope, listen, Real Betis talk about him like we did Leonardo Damião. He is their Leonardo Damião. Villa are also interested, obviously, with the links with Unai Emery. I just hope he gets his move. I hope he gets his move for him, and I hope he gets his move because I can't even remember how much he's on the wage bill. Yeah, he's got to be over 100 or at least touching 100. If anyone else in the chat, and there is now 342 of you in here, so thank you so much for joining us.
All platforms. So
exactly.
If you are watching on Twitter, on Brian's Twitter, you can head over to Tottenham on Tour on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. Get us closer to 9,000 subscribers because that would be really nice.
It would be.
If we can get to 10,000 by the end of the year, that would be marvellous. That would be rather splendid.
It would be. So, yeah, like I said, with Lo Celso, I think we just need to get this over and done with. Rip the Band-Aid off. But again, Real Betis need to clear the decks, as David's tweet that he displayed showed. Was it Romano, the tweet you displayed again, David, when it came to...
It was indeed, Jed. It was Fabrizio.
Yeah, so they need to clear the decks. So let's hope they can, and this will be another one out. So all I can say is I can't remember a season where the outgoings have been as quick as this, and to players that are on substantial wages. So all good. Now, Simon Coet, big. I haven't seen that guy for ages. I hope you're good, Simon, and the family. Hope everyone is having a great Sunday. But yeah, that's Lo Celso wrapped up. Who's next on the list, Dave?
Well, obviously, but now we're going into people coming in because obviously we've had players going out, which is great. So
Thank you.
a player that came up today, which was Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, this is a tweet. Tottenham will continue to monitor the position of Morgan Gibbs-White at Nottingham Forest as the interest in a transfer.
We continue into the borders of the situation.
Yeah.
Bingo card.
With that news of obviously looking at one more forward player, an attacking player, there's obviously going to be links to players like Morgan Gibbs-White and things like that. But I did get this up here, which is the difference between EzE, Gibbs-White, and Pereira, because obviously we've been linked with all three of these. Obviously, the standout player there is EzE. Everyone wants EzE, but you can understand why they're going for this type of player. The names we're linked with because they're all in that similar style of footballer that apparently we're looking for. A versatile player who could play from midfield, play on the right, play on the left. So it makes sense why these type of players are being linked and why we're looking at them.
But David.
Yes.
Is he better than Brian Hill?
It's a question.
I'll say he is. I'll say Gibbs-White is better than Brian Hill.
Brian, is he better than Brian Hill?
What? Listen, people will know. And I will just say there are people I can see putting Q in for questions. Any questions you want us to discuss, talk about after we've gone through the list, please put a Q or at TOT so we can see them clearly to star them. We do want to address them. And of course, if you put in a super chat, if you're in a position to, there's absolutely no obligation whatsoever. Put that in and we will stop what we're doing and discuss that immediately. But like I said, you're under no obligation to whatsoever. I am a huge Morgan Gibbs-White fan. There's no secret. EzE is my number one choice. My number one choice without foul. But I've openly said it as well, that when it comes to, if people remember when he broke out of Wolves, we played Wolves at home in one of his first games. I think he was 17 at the time. We won 3-2. It was a game where One Foyth gave away 2 penalties, and Morgan Gibbs-White was arguably the best player on the pitch.
Yeah. He
was incredible. Then he went to Forest. 50 million at the time. I thought, okay, I like him a lot, but that's from Wolves to Forest. That's big money. I honestly think this kid could be a star for us. I am so. If we sign Morgan Gibbs-White, I am to be over the goddamn moon. I really will. Listen, there's players that split opinions, like Conor Gallagher, like other players. I am a huge fan of EzE. Is he a priority for me? No, EzE should be all out, done. That's the one.
Yeah.
But I think Morgan Gibbs-White has the potential to play in a couple of the midfield positions, the 10 or the 8. Maybe even a 6 if required and if injury suspensions don't. I think he's versatile. I think he has an eye for a pass. He is very creative. I think a lot of the reason people are saying they don't want him, and it's fair to people, either A, they don't rate him, or B, he plays for Nottingham Forest. It's not a big 6 club or a big foreign club. Yeah. I think Morgan Gibbs-White could be an absolute star for us. I really do. So I want us to get EzE over the line, but if we sign Morgan Gibbs-White, I am going to be absolutely ecstatic. How about you, Ben?
I really like the player as well, Brian. He's someone that whenever I've watched him, because I've watched him a couple of times in person, I just think he's got he reminds me, like him and Sarr and a lot of the younger, the ceiling they have is massive. I don't think he's necessarily found his number one position yet. But in this meantime, he can play as a number 6. He can play as a number 8. He can play as a 10. He could play on the wing if he necessarily had to, because he's got a bit of pace about him. He's got a bit of aggression about him. I think Morgan Gibbs-White can be an excellent player for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Another homegrown option as well. Homegrown is going to be a buzzword this year, and we all love our buzzwords. I'm in the same camp with you, Aki. I want... the player I want is Eberechi Eze. That's the guy I want. That's the guy I've wanted for a long time. I wanted him with Maddison. I wanted the both of them at the same time. EzE will give me what I had as a kid with Aaron Lennon. The moment he gets the ball, he gets you all off your seat. He's quick. He's got a low center of gravity. He glides with the ball that sticks with his feet. If we can get those two boys in, I would be over the moon with this transfer window. But in terms of Morgan Gibbs-White, I think he can be a superb player. Maybe not necessarily for Tottenham. He will be a superb player in his career, and I'd love to see it be at Tottenham.
There you go, Dave. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to throw a little bit of curveball here, and obviously it's very optimistic of myself, right? But with Ndombele and Celso going, and we think that another forward's going to be leaving, that's 2 foreign places open, but we also need English homegrown players.
Yeah.
What if, just bear with me, we get EzE and Gibbs-White?
Yeah.
Or EzE and a Gallagher? Why we always have this worry that it's going to be one player? Because that's what Levy does.
Gallagher, because we want Ryan Isaacs to wear a Tottenham shirt with number 8 Dagul on the back.
Correct.
Yeah. But yeah, I think with the way we're doing business at the moment and how many players we're getting rid of quickly, I can see us doing a lot more business in the Prem with these teams that are struggling with PSR. And the prices that Levy's going to believe he's going to get from them, I think we might see 1 or 2 of these players coming in rather than just being one for a change. And Gibbs-White, for me, I've watched him a lot of Forest. Is he the type of player we should be looking at? No. But is he the terrible player? No. Gibbs-White will do as a business. Gibbs-White he works hard. Excuse me. On the pitch, Gibbs-White works hard. We should be going for better. Obviously, we'd wish we'd be able to go out and go and get the Mbappes and stuff like that. It's never going to happen. That's just not going to happen. It's not the way we do things. Gibbs-White is a solid player, and I think he could do good, but we need a striker. We need someone who can feed off him. Otherwise, he's just going to be another Verma, another Johnson, who's just going to be putting balls in, and no one's going to be on the end of it.
Isn't it, David? For not a lot of money, we could bring in Gibbs-White, we could bring in EzE, and we could bring in Tony as well. That's 3 English players. Yeah. Tony is your player to be your target man. I'm not necessarily a fan of his attitude, but I think as I don't want to use the word stopgap, but as an improvement on Richarlison, because I think Ivan Toney would be an improvement on Richarlison, in my opinion, for the style of football we wish to play, because of his technical ability, his hold-up play, his overall goal-scoring prowess. He's good at scoring penalties if we ever get one. I think Ivan Toney, if we got in the 3 players of EzE, Gibbs-White, and Ivan Toney, I think you'd rip someone's hand off for those 3.
I have to say, I'm going to put it to the vote, but first of all, I have to say to Mark, I think Mbappe would fit in the bench in the team we're hypothetically put together. But I can see loads of people here. There's now over 400 of you in here, so thank you very much indeed, guys. Obviously, we're all talking. Dave's saying there could be 2. There could be, but if you could have 2, EzE, Gibbs-White, and Gallagher, what would be your 2? I'm a Gibbs-White and EzE, but EzE over Gibbs-White. So that'd be my 2. I think that Ben, you agree with me, Dave? Full house
for me. It'd be someone different. I think for me, who would fit perfect for us, obviously EzE, but then, and I'm going to say his name correctly, I hope, Jimenez.
100%.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying those midfield 3. If you had to pick 2 of those
right. 3. EzE and Gibbs-White, because I don't like Gallagher. I don't like him.
There we go.
I'm sorry, I just don't like him.
There we go.
Brian's going to hate me now. I'm going to get a voice message screaming at me.
No, listen.
Scream at you anyway, David. He screams at everyone.
Yeah, I do. I do tend to have a loud voice, especially.
What about Ryan?
Oh, right. Let Ryan listen. Ryan can. He's too busy stalking Gallagher at the moment to leave a comment. So it looks like a lot of people are saying we got Noel or Liam Gallagher. That would be a discussion and a choice. But who's next on the hit list of targets or discussion points, Dave?
Yeah, well, this is the last one.
Oh wait, just one quickly. One quick. Eddie's. They could. EzE can play on the wing and as number 10. Morgan Gibbs-White could play on the wing, a 10, and probably an 8. So I think both their prime positions probably would be the 10, but they are both very, very versatile.
Remember, in this system, we don't play a number 10.
True.
We play one low block, low number 8, and we play 2 aggressive number 8s.
Yeah.
So that's the way we play football at the moment. I don't like the style of football. I'd rather play with a 6, a 10, and an 8 because I think that'd be more balanced for us. But if in games against teams with low blocks, let's say we're playing a Wolverhampton Wanderers that play sort of a deep sitting mid block, we could play with 2 number 10s. We could play with 2 aggressive number 10s that are going to spread the pitch and drag players out of position and move. We could do that. So we'll have to see.
We shall do. So back over to you, Dave. Who's next on the on the list?
Well, this one we've been linked with, and obviously people probably won't be happy about this, but we're apparently going to be getting rid of one Emerson Royal, a Brazilian right back.
Oh,
and we're apparently linked with another Brazilian right back in Vanderson. So links have been popping up a lot at the moment with Vanderson. I'm going to put up this little thing now so people can see his strengths.
I like these things you've got, David. I really do enjoy these.
Well, it just helps everyone to see what type. If they don't know the player, never seen him, you can see what people believe his weaknesses are, his strengths and everything. So yeah, there's that. So
we at Tottenham on tour don't like to say we know who players are because we have no clue at all.
No. Hey, I googled him, and the only thing I wanted to bring up is that. I don't even know my own
name half the time, David, let alone a player called Vanderson.
Yeah, but apparently there's been links with him. There was a tweet put out. I would have brought the tweet up, but you know what I mean? I didn't want to just put up a random source, a random tweet from Twitter just to, you know what I mean? It's just noise, and I just didn't think it was worth it. But yeah, apparently we're linked with Vanderson. He is a right back. He can also play in the midfield, and he can also play as a right wing back. So he sounds like another versatile player. We seem to be linked with a lot of versatile players this season.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see how that develops, though. But another Brazilian right back.
Go on, Ben.
I have no clue who this player is. I've never watched a game he's played. I'm not going to pretend I know who this player is. Hopefully he's good.
I can listen. I'm going to basically say exactly the same as Ben. But can you bring up the attributes thing that you brought up, David?
Yeah, of course can.
I wasn't looking at the strengths and weaknesses part. I was like, look, I hadn't noticed this style of play. So likes to play long balls, plays the ball off the ground often, likes to tackle. Okay, so if we look at it, I think we've been missing. I can't remember. Can anyone say that right now? Well, you can put it down now, David, if you want.
Yeah, give me a second.
Have we had a passer that could play the ball out from the back properly?
No.
Since Toby, like we had with Dawson with his diagonal balls, but Toby was someone that could pick a pass, and we all know Dele Alli often. Romero is comfortable on the ball, bringing it out, and his passing certainly. I saw a definite improvement or wider range of passing this season with the style of play we're playing. But I don't think we've got that defender in. Oh, Porro can, but obviously on the wing. But this guy's a right back as well, isn't it? So I'd like to see that ball playing centre back as well.
I've just got another thing for you to show. I've just literally got it right now. This might help people see things as well. So currently in League One, he's got 20 appearances, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 yellow cards, 1 second yellow, 59% in the starting 11, 54 minutes, and 6% goal participation. So as a right back type of defender with 3 + 1 assist, I mean, that's not too shabby, is it really, for some unknown player that we have no idea about, and hoping if we do buy him, he's good.
There you go. Wait, I've just seen a question card, so I just want to deal with this. Abraham, there are some fans who are glorifying Werner's signing on big channels, but then you are never countering them just because they're mates. But if it was I've got no idea who's like glorifying Team Werner. What people do on their channels is their business. I've openly come out and said I thought when we signed him on loan, I thought it turned out it could have been a very, very smart bit of business. Hasn't worked that way. Don't appreciate the signing whatsoever. There's never any hypocrisy from me, mate, ever.
On Tottenham on Tour, we will never go in on another channel. That's not our style. We prefer to keep it all in-house. We want to keep it on the show. There are 447 people watching us today, and I don't think 447 people want to watch us slag us off of other people. They want to see us support and watch Tottenham. So although we are known to be supposedly the toxic channel, yeah, we're not toxic. We're not here to talk about other people. We're here to keep it civil. We're going to have a laugh. We're going to have a cry. And most importantly, we're going to talk about Tottenham. So that's what we're here to do.
Exactly. And on that note, we've actually had a super chat come in from a great Runaway user. Question, who's best suited? Edison from Atlanta or Eze? I'll go quick here. I personally don't know enough about Edison. So I can't really say who would best suit us. All I will say is you could pretty much give me anyone and put it next to Eze right now, and I will say Eze, just because I liked him.
Paul Gascoigne or Eze?
Well, no, obviously Gaza, but they're not playing.
You lied! Tottenham on Tour, a bunch of liars.
Well, what I will say is right now in this time, I liked Eze when we're going from a QPR. But obviously, we didn't go for him. He went to Palace. He has flourished at Palace. I am a huge admirer of Eze. Honestly, I don't think there's a lot of people you could put above him or put compared to him, or even in different positions. For me, I want to see Eze in a lily white shirt. I really think this guy is the bee's knees, and I just hope we get it done. So for me, I mean, do either of you two know a bit more about Edison than I do?
No, I've heard a lot of people.
I've not watched enough Atalanta, but next year, Aki, we are going to watch some Serie A games, and maybe we will see this player next year.
I mean, I can always do a comparison while we're here between him and Eze.
We can do it.
If I can.
Okay, it's just coming. Eze over Chiesa for me.
Yeah, I love Chiesa.
Talk about that. Chiesa's actually having a conversation with his agent because he doesn't know if he's actually going to be leaving this window.
I love Chiesa as a player, but his injury record is unacceptable, and he's had quite a few bad injuries. It depends what Motta wants as the new Juventus coach. I don't think we can realistically talk about players leaving until Thiago Motta has taken them on a couple of pre-season games, and then we will see what Juventus are doing for the next year. So hang on. Quick
question. Sorry, is it Edison from Atlanta, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. Shit, Edison. Yeah, we're talking about Chiesa. Yeah, Chiesa.
No, sorry. I was just doing this quickly.
I'm confusing myself. Yeah.
I just want to give my apologies to Jason as well, because I misread the way he was trying to say it. So I thought he was talking about me personally, but he wasn't. Sorry if it came across, Jason, if I read that the wrong way. My bad. And thanks to, who was it? Brendan for letting me know that I misread it. So my apologies. But yeah, get that up. But whilst we're also talking about that, okay, so which one we got?
So you got Edison and Eze. This is obviously, it's just showing you what different bits of their percentages are over a season, I think it is. And obviously Edison seems a bit more defensive.
Edison
as a player.
Edison, I don't know the player, but apparently Edison is a deep lying playmaker.
Yeah, Elto's just put that there.
Yeah.
Cheers, Jose.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of people say, so yeah, they are slightly different positions. But I'll tell you what, well, with this one still tight, Eze, I prefer Eze over Elise. And, Eze over Elise, sorry.
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Only
bring them all in. Just bring them all in. Eze, Edison, Elise.
Before we start going into questions, actually, I'm going to bring a couple up, and I know Ray brought it up. So we'll talk about both. I'll set the question, then I'll go after you two. Strikers. Obviously, this Ivan Toney is heating up, but it broke today, and it's not been Tottenham linked to it, but I do think Tottenham are heavily interested. Bournemouth have come out and said 65 million for Dominic as Ray. I'm going to say this in the way that Ray the Yid, my brother, says it. 65 million for So Lanky. So where are we with those two? Obviously, at the moment, it's nothing but rumours. I think obviously the rumours with Ivan Toney are obviously a lot more sustainable. Oh, sorry, not a lot more legit than anything with Solanke, because we weren't linked in this bit that said 65 million. There was no teams mentioned. This was Bournemouth saying, or apparently saying, that's the price. I mean, Ben, I'll go to you first. Where are you on either of those two strikers?
I don't want.
And the chat. Where are the chat with that?
I'd rather have Ivan Toney for 40 million quid for 3 years. I think he'd be a more useful player than us. I think he's a more suitable player for the system we play. I would prefer to have Ivan Toney for less money and spend that 25 million pounds that we would spend on a Solanke. I'd rather put that towards a better player like an Elise or I don't want Solanke. I think Solanke's had one good season in the Premier League, and let's see if he's going to have another good season. If he has another good season, we can start looking at it a bit more. But for now, leave him at Bournemouth. Let's see what he can do. Okay,
Dave, where are you with the two?
If it was my choice, I wouldn't have either of them. The player I want is Santiago Jimenez. The reason is I brought receipts because this is him against Haaland, and as you can see, it's very, very similar.
Yeah, there's one thing that's missing out there, though, aren't you? Premier League and
I know, I get that. What I'm saying is, though, when you look at the percentages there, I'm not saying they're the exact same player. Bear in mind that, yeah. What I'm saying is percentages. Haaland would work in our type of football because he's a poacher-style striker. If you look at him at City, when he tries to drop deep and everything, he looks lost. Yeah. When City can't feed out wide and get the ball in across, Haaland is a ghost within that game. Yeah. Our best style of football is going to the byline and hitting them low crosses in. If we had Haaland in our team, he would have an absolute field day. He would have a field day within our team. So that's why I'm saying...
But why, Jimenez, David?
Is he better than Brian Hill?
I love that. I'm sorry. I love that. Yes, I think Jimenez would be much, much better than Brian Hill. Like, don't get me wrong, completely different leagues. Obviously, completely different leagues. I'm not saying me showing that graph is that Jimenez is even close to Haaland, or if he comes to the Prem, he'd do the same. It was just showing a graph of the style of footballer he is and how he'd work in our team. And how our style of football, we need a poacher. We don't need I know people are going to hate me for this, but we don't need that Harry Kane style striker who can drop deep and try and create play. We need that striker who's going to literally sit in that box and wait for that ball to come. Because if you look at when Sonny did it and played up as a striker, he was always left. He was non-existent for 99% of the game. Because the style of football we play, you've got to stay central and you've got to wait for that ball to come. So that's why I'd pick him. But if it was out of Toney and Solanke, I'd pick Toney again. Regardless of his attitude, his style of football as a striker is better suited for us than Solanke.
Okay,
personally.
So the reason I've got this question up and I've left this up, whilst I'm going through what I think, Jimenez is your guy. I want to see comparisons between Jimenez and these two, Guirassy and Openda, but I also want to see my guy, Gyökeres, or however you pronounce it.
Gyökeres.
I can never pronounce. I'm just going to call him Victor from now on because
all right,
it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. I've said, listen, I keep going back to Jose Mourinho when he said in the documentary that Jose Mourinho said we need some horrible. Won't mention the next word for obvious reasons. I think Ivan Toney suits that kind of player that will take no prisoners, will be evil, will play old school and dirty tricks and dark arts, as we saw with that free kick when he moved the foam. I just get very, very concerned that there could be, like we're seeing with Paqueta and Tonali, whether it be betting, match fixing, whatever you want to. I get concerned that there could be something around the corner from him. Not that saying that there is, but any time in his career, don't get me wrong, I think he would bang the goals in for us. Bang the goals in for us. I've got a bad feeling that I think it's going to be Solanke. I do, not at 65 mil, not at 65 million, but I think Solanke might be the one that starts gathering a bit more pace. Not now, and Spurs certainly aren't paying 65 million for him. That's for damn sure. But we'll have to wait and see. But Dave, let's have a look. Have you got one of them? Let's have a look. I want to see first how my man is.
Yep. I've got it all up. So I've got four. These three: Jimenez, Garassi, and Openda.
Okay.
And I've also obviously kept in. Who else was it?
Solanke and Tony.
There you go. So if you remove the comment, Brian, everyone will be able to see.
That's
I haven't put Solanke or Tony in there. I've just got these.
Why is Goodmanson in? Or he won't be coming.
Because he's a good son.
Hold on. Never mind.
Brian Hill is always the bar, Philly. Brian Hill is always the bar.
Exactly.
Most
here we go.
Most
this
people,
one now.
he's so small, you can put your beer on the top of his head.
500 people watching. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate it.
But only 69.
Right, we got it now.
I've
got them all in. Right, I've got them all in. Bear in mind, everyone, take your time to look because there is different colours. But here they are.
It's very hard to tell which one is Gyökeres and which one is Ivan Toney.
The darker colour is Tony.
Gyökeres is the light orange and Ivan Toney is the dark orange.
Okay. Listen, for me, I honestly think Gyökeres is the one. Victor, I really, really, really like this guy. I think this guy could be something very, very special. He's got the power. He's got area, but he for me is the number one. I can see Colin Cross has mentioned someone, and there he is. I hope this guy doesn't come into the equation. I really, really hope not. But for me, it's Victor all day long.
Sorry, I just put Lukaku into that, mate. There's no point. It's the littlest little thing ever, mate. It's so funny.
It's definitely, Goodmanson is definitely not coming. There is absolutely no chance in hell
I
coming.
wonder what Benny's talking about.
I don't know, but this is the guy that called me a happy clapper on Dan's show. So you've made.
Yay! I'm a happy clapper.
You've made the.
For once, I finally made it. I've gone from Eeyore to happy clapper within a hell
there
yeah.
you go. Riquetti, all I will say is sexual nature. I'm not allegedly. There has been issues. I think it happened in about March or April. That it was announced all across social media. It's all allegations. Don't know if it's so. I'm not saying that what has said is true, but there is a big cloud over him at the moment. So yeah, I just cannot see that happening. But yeah, for me, it's definitely Gyökeres. So out of all that list, now we've had it because we had Openda. You're still going for Jimenez, aren't you?
Yeah, for me personally, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, Gyökeres, he's obviously, again, for me, it'd be out of them.
That's another one. I have to say there is another one.
Yeah, but for me, it'd have to be them two, either Jimenez or Gyökeres. For me, if you want to go for players, you go for ones that, you know what I mean.
Oh, wait a minute. It might. My bad. I didn't know that part. Thank you very much, Daryl. Big up, Daryl. I hope you're good, buddy. So if that's been cleared, then maybe he is on there, but he is a playmaker. He isn't a forward. So yeah, you said Jimenez or Gyökeres. Ben?
Goodmanson's a good player. Not totally familiar on him, but I've watched a few games here and there that he's played, and he looks like a decent talent. I like Gyökeres. I've watched Gyökeres a couple of times because I know people have been raving about him, and he really does look like a star in the making. I think most likely we will go for an Ivan Toney player.
All right, so there you go. But do you know what? Before we go to questions, Adam McFarland's just put something in. I'm shocked. I don't know the reasons Robbie left Maccabi Tel Aviv. I don't know why he did. He did a terrific job there. And one thing I will say about Robbie Keane is you look at players or ex-players trying to get into management that sometimes drop into the Championship or may go abroad. He took a bold step going where he did. Did a tremendous job. And with Davies going to Birmingham, or Davies, whichever one it was, I would love to get this. Obviously, there's rumours already, predictable Spurs, that it could be Ryan Mason. Who would have thought it? Me and Dave spoke about it on one of the evening brews. We were like, here we go. I would love to get Robbie Keane back. Get him back with a player that's won a trophy of the club, a player that knows what Tottenham means, a person that won't take crap. I would love to get Robbie Keane as an assistant. It's whether he will now be willing to drop to an assistant manager to further his career and his development. I mean, I would welcome him. People in the chat, and there's 510 of you, would you be happy to see Robbie Keane appointed as Ange Postecoglou's assistant manager? Because I, for certain, would be oh, hell yeah. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, definitely. I'd take him because I know what the option is if it isn't, and that's Ryan Mason. Now, I'm sorry, Robbie Keane had a better career than Ryan Mason. Robbie Keane understands football better than Ryan Mason. Robbie Keane, when it was him and Berbatov, was such a beautiful striker partnership. It was unbelievable. When you want to talk about flawless strikers together, them two were unbelievable. And for me, Robbie Keane coming in, he knows the club so well. He'll be super respected by any players. And he's already won over in Tel Aviv. He won the title with them.
He did.
So he's always got one over on Mason there. He knows how to actually win things. And, you know.
I don't want to pour cold water on it. I think Robbie Keane will want to be a manager. I don't think he's going to want to answer. After winning a league title, I think he fancies himself to go down to a League One or even a low-level championship club and seeing if he can actually do it. I don't think he wants to be someone's assistant. And I think if he did become someone's assistant, it would be someone at a top level. I'm talking Jose Mourinho level, top level, to learn under a top level manager.
Yeah, but then he's not going to, well, I was about to say he might not go to Turkey, but he went to Israel. Yeah.
I don't see Mourinho's got his coaching team. So I see him going to League One and making himself. Wrexham would be an amazing job for Robbie Keane, but they've got a manager.
Good point. It's a good point. And listen, we can dream. We can dream. The way I look at it is, if you look at all the teams, one of the great things it would do is, I think at every club, and I don't just speak for Tottenham here, I think we would all love our clubs to have not some. I wouldn't say Robbie Keane's a legend.
I would. He's won a trophy.
Well, yeah, you listen. I think what I'm trying to say is, I think everywhere, all clubs would like to see more ex-players be in and around, whether it be the management staff, whether it be the board, whether it be in between. You look at Ajax. They have Van der Sar. They had Overmars. They just have people around the club that know this football club, that know what it means to wear that shirt, that knows what it means to the fans. They know what we expect. They just have it in their blood. There's players. Look, we started doing it with Jermaine Defoe, but I want to see some players that know what it is to play for Tottenham. Not saying that Ryan Mason doesn't, but players like Robbie Keane.
Ryan Mason's not a leader of men, though, is he?
No, he's not.
He's never been a leader. Even though I don't want to make fun of the way someone comes across on a camera, but he seems to be one of those, just a nice guy. He looks like a nice guy that's a good lad. Robbie Keane was a winner. Robbie Keane had the bollocks to punch Edgar Davids in the fact he punched Edgar Davids out. Edgar Davids, an absolute legend in world football, winning multiple trophies. Robbie Keane went up to the pit bull and knocked him out. That's someone I want as a manager, someone who will fight.
Put it this way, there's a lot of people that would welcome him back, but you raise a good point, Ben. It's whether, I mean, what would you, where are you going to gain more experience from? Being your own man in a League One or a Championship, or going to Tottenham?
He's got
as
to
a
be
number
the boss.
2.
I think he's got to be the boss.
Listen, I can see where you're coming from. I can see where you're coming from. And maybe it will. Maybe it will. Do you know what it is? I think a lot of it is putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with not 4, because it happened at a very, very similar time to when Davies went to Birmingham. It was like, right, I'm out of here. We obviously don't know the reasons that he left Maccabi Tel Aviv. But who knows? Robbie Keane could be there. Right, let's start going through the questions. I'll bring them up. You guys keep an eye on the live chat just in case any more come in. We'll go through these one by one. Let's have a look. We've done. Dragon D's Nuts asked a question about that. Rinketit, if Villa asked Gio 20 plus Konza, would you say yes? Ben?
I'd rather have the money. I'd rather have the full money rather than a player. We need the money to spend it in other places. And PSR is such a big thing now. If we're going to get a player in return, it's got to be a homegrown player that's going to have real quality in the side. I'd rather have the money and invest it in players we need rather than getting players that clubs want rid of. Because if a club like Villa, who's in the same position as we are really, just a tiny bit above us, wants to get rid of a player, he's not good enough for Villa, so he's not good enough for us.
Okay, so you're just the cash. Okay, Dave?
The money.
Yes. Sorry, I was watching the Wales match. No, I'd rather the money. I don't want Konza. I just think, again, like Ben says, it'll be another player on the wage books that will take us forever to get rid of again. And it's just a waste of time. I'd rather just take the 20 million. 20 million leave Konza.
Well, do you know what? I'm actually going to go against you two.
Whoa, drama.
I would take
him out, Ben.
I would take Konza. I think he's a good defender. Actually, I think he's a better than good. I wouldn't say very good, but it's he plays at centre back, which is a position we're obviously looking for. Gets Lo Celso off the books. I think it'd be cheaper wages to start off with than Lo Celso is currently on. So I don't know what the chat's saying with that. If there's any responses in the chat, but I would take that. I would definitely take 20 million.
They're just saying, why would Villa want Giovani Lo Celso?
Well, the see to the fourth, the link is, and it's there, and it's kind of a link that won't go away, is he has worked under Unai Emery before. And Unai Emery might know how to get the best out of him, how to keep him fit. He is a Spurs fan, Ed. He is a Spurs boy. I'll big up Chris. I would take Konza. I think 20 million plus Konza, I'd snap your arm off.
Douglas Luiz is a very good player as well. I like Douglas Luiz as a player.
He is. Ray, we've done your question, my man, on So Lanky, as I am going to nickname him that as well. 65 million is just a ridiculous fee. Ridiculous fee for one season. Good question here from, I've got to say, I speak to this guy a lot on Instagram. He's a top man. Great supporter of the channel as well, as everyone else is. Big up, Zach. Dave, we'll go to you first. Who's going to be our first? Obviously, we've had Werner, but let's...
Damn it! That's what my answer.
Yes, but yes, we'll get rid of that. Who do you reckon our first signing will be? Dave?
Kiefer Moore.
Yeah, you're in your dreams.
Kiefer Moore is a David-type player. Big, tall, Welsh... bulldozer.
Yeah, I'm watching now, mate. He's rubbish, mate. I'm watching now. If I couldn't control myself, you'd hear so much bad words right now about the way he's playing. But anyway, no. The first player I think is going to be EzE. I really believe EzE is going to be the first player officially signed for us.
All right, Ben?
I would concur with David.
You concur with David?
Keep more.
Yeah.
Keep more.
Yeah.
Fair play, Ben.
We need
Fair
a
play.
big, tall number 9. Gonna be a bit lanky, be a bit bulldozer-ish, headbutt people. That's my guy. Borda.
Okay. This will be our first signing. I hope it's Eze. I don't think it will be Eze. Who could it be? I'm gonna go MGW. I'm gonna go Morgan.
Okay.
I hope it. Listen, I hope it's Eze. I hope it's Eze. But what you got to remember is, as of Tuesday, he is out on the with England for the Euros, and I would imagine all transfer talk, unless it's been done already whilst he's been at the training ground. Whereas Nottingham Forest have got to clear the books before the 30th of June. So I reckon it's going to be a team with the PSR. Who knows? It could, mate. Mate, it could be. Who knows? With what the question we just asked, I can't remember who it was that we brought up just now. With 20 million with Lo Celso and a player exchange, I think that you might see a few of those deals this season. I think not just with Tottenham. I think you might see a few player exchanges. But yeah, I'm going for Morgan Gibbs-White to be our first signing. Next one from Rich. If we got Eze, Tony, and Gallagher, what would your... good question. We'll go to you first, Ben.
Depends how Villa do. I expect us to get 4th next year. If we don't get 4th, I think Levy's going to be pulling a trigger. It depends how we start the season. I've still got my prediction that I think Pochettino will be the manager by December. I've still got this iggling feeling in my head that Levy is the man to pull a trigger, especially if he thinks that's not going to get his lovely top 4. And we will see. So I think we'll get 4th next year. I think we've got the players to get 4th. It's all whether we can put together a run and we can keep players fit.
Okay, Dave?
Yeah, expectations would definitely be a really good cup run for me. Just them 3 players alone ain't going to drastically change us. I know people hope they would, but I don't think they really would drastically change us. Because you got to understand, you're taking it as if them 3 play every single game perfectly. They're going to get injuries. We still need a few players for the bench as well, especially in midfield. But if we were to get them 3 and it was just them 3, at least a cup run, at least the Carabao with FA Cup or even a good run in Europe, I'd take that. Do you know what I mean? But that's nowhere near. 3 players is nowhere near what projects to that next level at all. But they'd give us a good cup run, I think.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I'd love to have a cup run. I'd love to get to the semi-finals or even a final. A final of the FA Cup would be marvellous.
Well, put it this way. I'm very, very soon. I've got to get the list and get the numbers right. I am going to book 5 or 6 rooms for wherever the Europa League final is this year. Like we were going to do for the Champions League bet a couple of years ago, where Nick booked a load of rooms.
Nick booked an entire house somewhere.
Yeah, so we get the prices for the.
It's in Bilbao.
I think you're right. I think it's in Spain. So before you even mentioned these, Rich, last season all I said is serious cup run, or take the cup seriously, and end the season with the manager we started with. Didn't have any expectations in the league. This season going in, I expect top 4. Not because I want Champions League football. That this season, when it comes to it, Ange he will be judged. He will be judged a lot more this year than he was last year. Whether you're against him, for him, not sure. This season and after this window, there is a lot more. Let's put it this way: the spotlight is going to be shining brighter on him this season than it most certainly was last season. If these 3 come in, the one thing I will say with Gallagher, if he does come in, and I don't want him, is David, you were saying about these players will be injured. Gallagher is like a Højbjerg. He does not get injured. So he will offer consistency. If these 3 were to come in, top 4 and to a semi-final and final, at least 2 of the cups, would be my expectation. Remember, there's 3, and I'm including Europa League. So that would be where I am. From Ty, next one. Troy Parrott scoring 17 goals in the Dutch league. Do you think he plays a part next season? And if he doesn't, why would we consider Jimenez when he's only scoring 22 for a much better side? David, I'm going to come to you first for obvious reasons.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. Thank you. For me, Troy Parrott, I think he does have a future, right? He's still slightly young and he is starting to do really, really well. Jimenez, for me, he's just got a higher ceiling than him, plain and simple. And I think, yes, Troy Parrott at Excelsior did really well, and he scored a hat trick the other day, didn't he, for Ireland. I still think he's got a lot to learn. I still think Troy Parrott is a very raw player. Jimenez, for me, is just has the extra about him. And I think if you were to put both of them in a Tottenham team side by side, Jimenez would get a lot more goals than Troy Parrott, and he would be fitted in our system a lot more better.
There you go. And first of all, I just want to say hello to a couple of people that have come in that I have just seen. My Leicester brother, Wayne Holland, is in the building. Always a pleasure to see you, sir. And a question is coming up from someone that stood proudly with me at the Levy out protest when I watched the Brentford game in the Coach and Horses. I haven't seen him for a while. Big up Ian Carpenter. We'll get to your question very shortly. Ben, back to you on this question.
I want Troy Parrott gone. He's not good enough to play for Tottenham. He was never good enough to play for Tottenham. He's had one good season in the Dutch league. He's not good enough to play in the Premier League for a top-level side. Get him gone. Get some money. Get him off the wage books. Bring someone from the academy. He's stopping a Will Lancashire getting in the team whilst he's on the books. Play him instead. He's actually got quality. Nah, Troy Parrott, get gone.
I do agree.
Can I just reply to this? I don't mean he's got a future for us. I mean he's got a future as a striker. I don't think he's got a future for us, by the way. Just to put that out there, yeah. I don't think Troy Parrott should be a part of this squad, by the way.
No. He should, but you know what? I whenever I think of Troy Parrott, instantly, and for no fault of his own, I instantly think about the penalty miss against Norwich.
Yeah.
He was too young to take a penalty. A lot of pressure because we had so many people that wouldn't stick up for the club. The more experienced players, they threw him under the bus. And Gedson Fernandez with possibly the worst penalty I've ever seen in my life. I think Troy Parrott will go on to have a very good career wherever he goes. He's coming through at a time now and he's shown what he can do. He's just got to show these people could go out on loan and turn their careers around. He's, no matter what you say, and Ty was right and bring the question up with comparing him to Jimenez. And he has scored 17 goals in the Dutch league. Yes, it's an easier league. He's done well, but like Ben alluded to, we have Lancashire coming through. There's Valise. There's Scarlett. There's Scarlett. The list is going on, and somehow we've got to get rid. And I can see us getting rid of him. As much as I would like to maybe have seen, I think from what I've heard, Ange wants to see him in pre-season. But I think if we're going to progress with what we're seeing with outgoings and getting rid of players, we've got a long list of strikers waiting in the pecking order. And I don't think Troy Parrott interrupts the Scarletts, the Valises, the Lancashires. So for me, he will be he'll be gone. But next question. Vindaloo, big up Vindaloo. And I will say it's great that we've got people that come in from other supporters from other shows. They're all more than welcome. And once again, I will say to the 545 watching, again, thank you. But what I will say, we are as a channel, so grateful, impressed, and in awe of you guys because you always come in and this chat when we're live or whatever is always respectful. Yeah, you might get a couple of people come in and upset the apple cart, but you guys honestly keep it civil, really engaging. And you have no idea how much that means to us. So well done.
Maybe they're terrified of the mod father because they know he's on screen.
They could be, but I will say, no, honestly, this chat always always impresses me at how welcoming they are. So, question for me. I know you back your managers, but do you believe in Ange's system no matter what players you bring? Listen, I've said this, Vindaloo, many a time. There's certain things I questioned with Ange's style of play. Obviously, the first 10 games was faultless, and we all enjoyed that. It was like, oh, my God, what have we got here? The things I don't agree with are, for instance, that 4-game losing spell or times when we've been really, really, really under the cosh. I'd just like to see us say, do you know what? For 5-10 minutes, let's just drop back, weather the storm, nullify the threat, get things back, and then kick back. But for some reason, and it's Ange's squad and his beliefs and his philosophy, so he does what he wants. I that's the thing I question. And hopefully, over the summer, he'll take on board everything he's learned. And who knows? Next season, he might do that. Next season, he might not. Next season, he might have the players to play how we played the 10 games and be able to sustain it better, or at least have it on the bench so he can make the changes. Set pieces is another thing. And the way he was dealing with it was causing huge concern to myself and many other Spurs fans. So I do question. I do wish he'd adapt for 5-10 minutes if we're under the cosh. But like I said, Vindaloo, and you see me on many a stream, I always stand by my managers, but I can question where some of his in-game management happens. And those are the two things that really got to me. You two got anything to say about that?
Sorry, Wales just conceded. Oh, it's offside. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Who are you playing? Who are you playing?
Slovakia.
Okay.
We're only a little, don't take the chat. Don't take the mic, right? We're a little country, okay? We're no England who lose against Iceland and Lidl and stuff, okay? We play proper teams. Sorry. With Ange, I always said give him this season. Let him do what he wants this season. It was his first season in. This season, I need to see adaptations. I need to see changes within the squad. If we're under the cosh, like you said, Brian, we need to have a change where we can sit back, where we can defend. The system needs to be adjusted. The system can work. We've seen that. We've seen us being able to score goals. But we need to see a tweak within the system like he did at the end of the season, where he had a switch up, where Dragusin came in, where Van der Ven went on the left, where the midfield was switched up a little. That's where I think we need to see Ange change. If he can't do that next season, then there's no point. We can't play Bielsa ball in the Premier League. It doesn't work. It might look good for a few games. The players get too tired. The players get injured, and it just becomes a nightmare. So for me, he has this season. I hope to see changes, but I'm fully behind Ange. You know what I mean? I back him 100%. But it's about this season. I need cut runs. I need to see us in finals, and I want to see his challenge. His own words were, I want to be up there challenging for the title. I want to be the one to stop these teams winning rather than losing a game. I want to be at winning a game. So for me, it's this season. It's on him, but I fully back him until next season. Let's see how it goes.
Ben?
You know my opinions. I can see the man upstairs wobbling with Pochettino on the sidelines. I see Levy pulling the trigger on him. It all depends on that start of the season. If we start the season the way we ended this season, I think his head is going to be very, very loose. Being the third best, the worst team, was it the 16th best team in the Premier League in 2024 is not acceptable from a club like Tottenham Hotspur. It's not acceptable.
So when it comes to pulling the trigger, if he does pull the trigger, and let's face it, we have a chairman that is very, very well known for doing it and very, very capable of doing it. I've said it for a while now, and I'll say it again. It won't be Pochettino. Ryan Mason will be. If Ryan Mason, put it this way, if Ryan Mason gets the assistant manager's job, I would say it's now Dom, because it just doesn't matter. He will be promoted to the next man. I think no matter when it happens, whether it be next season, any point during the season, whether it be the season after next or any time, I am very, very worried that Ryan Mason will be the next manager of Tottenham Hotspur. Because as I've said, we've become the Watford of the Premier League, where we just sack managers and get rid of them and they come for a payout. And soon it's going to get to the point where no manager with a reputation. You're going to have to weigh it up. Is a manager with a reputation going to want to come and tarnish his reputation? Or is he going to come for the payday because he knows you won't see out his contract and he'll get paid in or paid out? So either way, it's Ryan Mason for me, next manager. But next question, we've had first player through the door. Forget Ndombele. Who is the first player we sell?
Emerson Royale.
All right.
Yeah, I agree, Emerson Royale.
You're going Emerson Royale?
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to chuck I'm just to be different for the sake of being different. I think it's going to be Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. That's who I think. I think these. You got to remember, Milan at the moment are apparently struggling to raise the money that someone's asked for. Actually, no. Do you know what? I'm going to chuck another one. Jed Spence. Jed Spence will be the first one out the door because, from what I believe, the fee is agreed. All that is being discussed right now is how much sell-on fee is going to be in the contract. So we obviously get a portion of any sell. Who are people saying that? So we got Ndombele, Andrew, is a. We're not counting that. We mean literally walking through the door to another club. I would say Pierre or Spence, but I'm gonna stick my neck out and say Spence. That's who I'm gonna go.
Oh,
He's joking. He's joking.
Oh, Ray.
Ray's putting setting the cat the
Ray
cat amongst the feathers or whatever. So right, next question after that one. This is Ian Carpenter's. Oh, this is to be the question that gets us. I'll go last. Ian, big up to you, buddy. Does anyone believe that further investment will come this summer, or is it just an ENIC smokescreen?
I'll go first. No, it's not an ENIC smokescreen. ENIC wouldn't sell majority of their shares for a smokescreen, but it's not going to be the investment that everyone thinks it's going to be. It's not going to be an investment that's going to be like, oh, this person's coming in, they're going to invest loads into the squad. No, it's going to be another ENIC style investment where they're just putting money in because we're a massive brand and we're going to be generating extreme amounts of money. So it's the perfect time for someone to come in, buy a majority share, like not a majority share, but a big share of about 40%. I think they was pitted around. And it still keeps ENIC earning money. I think ENIC will actually still have the majority because they'll have about 47%, I think, something like that. Because I know Levy only owns a slight amount as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not there to bring in more players. It's not there to invest in the squad. It's solely just because we are now a massive brand. And American investors are looking at us. And it'll be similar to like United at the Glazers, where they don't care about the football, they don't care about anything else. They just care about the amount of money that they're going to be returned on their investment.
Okay. So, Ben, your thoughts?
It's a load of rubbish. Moving on.
Okay, so I'll elaborate for us.
Very detailed.
It is a huge smokescreen. Remember, I am fluent in Levy.
It's such a big smokescreen. I'm putting a second hat on.
I am fluent in Levy. I have my PhD and my doctorate in this subject. If I ever went on mastermind, my chosen subject would be Levy. It's always a smokescreen. You look at teams like I was talking about this with Ray and Craig today. Everton, like Sky Sports are reporting profusely that people are flying in. There's five people. Listen, that's what the media. Listen, Spurs may be doing this under, but every single time, like what was the last one? MSP or MSJ or whatever it was this week or last week. They came, they saw, they buggered off. Every time this kind of debate and this kind of stuff or Levy out or anything gets any kind of oxygen and starts getting louder, whether it be just on social media, whether it be wherever, a name comes out. They have a talk. Obviously, someone has overvalued the club to what these people are paying, and off they go. It will be as well, if it does come in, everything that's been happening with the two groups that I think have been linked in recently has all been about investment in the infrastructure, not on the funding will go towards hotels, the housing development. It is a huge smoke screen. A name will come up, it'll be spoken about, it goes away. This is typical Levy PR at its finest, and I don't think anything happens this year. I hope I'm wrong, but we shall see what happens. Next question. Cease the fourth. Oof. Would you take a trophy if it meant Ange getting sacked due to failure of reaching the Champions League? I'll go very. Go on, Ben. You go.
Never. If Ange won a trophy and Levy sacked him, that would be Levy. That would be Levy arriving on Tottenham on tour, coming on the screen with us three, and going, "And as always, I'm out," and then going. There's no way that's happening. That would be signing his ending warrant as a chairman. Finally, we have one a manager that's won something. He sacks him. That's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's a silly. For me, it's a silly question. I'm going to buy it and just say.
It's not a silly question.
I desperately want a trophy, but it's never. That scenario is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Levy's never going to. They're never going to win a trophy, and he sacked them because it would be every single.
No, we'll get to the final when they sack him before.
That's what he does. That's what he does. If we won a trophy and he sacked the manager, it would be open warfare on him. It'd be warfare.
So, Dave, what's your answer to this question?
If it was hypothetical and this was actually the case, I'd take the trophy any day of the week. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the whole point of football is about winning trophies. Yeah, you don't get anything for coming second. You don't get anything for third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 12th. Yeah, you get something for coming first. And if that means this scenario as a hypothetical was to happen, I'd take the trophy any day of the week. It wouldn't happen like Ben said, but I would take a trophy any day of the week because it's football. And it's about winning silverware. Again, like I said, I'd rather my players that I support holding trophies at the end of the season than the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add this. The easy way I can answer this seat to the fourth is literally say I would take relegation if it meant a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, or Europa League. Any one of them. I look around and, like I said, I'm 45 in a couple of weeks' time. Spurs have won 6 trophies in my lifetime, but 3 of them I can only remember because the first 3 was when I was 2, 3, and 5. And I can't remember them for obvious reasons, but I remember 91, I remember 99, and I remember 2008. And I just want to see us winning silverware again. That's all. That's how I deem success. That's my success. Other people look at football a different way. For me, success equals trophies, or trophies equals success, whichever way you want to do it. So when it comes to there's nothing. If you said Spurs won a trophy, but this happened, unless you said Levy stays for another 20 years, then that's the only way I would kind of be like, that's a bit of a tricky one.
I still take it.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could.
I would. Trophy's trophy. I would take anything.
Yeah, not if it meant Levy for 20 years. I don't think I could. That would mean I would technically be an old age pensioner by the time Levy left. No, I can't. I don't think.
You won't be able to move your fingers anymore.
No. They'll be stuck like this.
Alana, move my fingers for me. Move my fingers for me.
Yeah, I forgot. Ray's got the same birthday as me as well. We've only just found out. Great people are born on the 22nd of June. This is a major thing, Vindaloo. The only way we're going to win trophies is stop rotating managers as well. That is a damn fact. I think this is the final question, unless you guys find any others coming in. This is a good question. and I know me and David will have a lot to say on this. So Ben, you'll go first.
Yeah.
Your opinion on, and I know people in the chat that are going to go mad with this question. What's your opinion on Johnson? I'm mixed. I can see flashes, but he never takes anyone on. Ben, you go first.
My opinion on Brennan Johnson was not great at the start of the season. I'm still think he's not the player we need to succeed in the mid future. But I think as a long-term prospect, I think Brennan Johnson is showing already that he's starting to improve. We would not be talking about Brennan Johnson if it weren't for Timo Werner this year, because Timo Werner missed 10 opportunities that he was created from that right-hand side because he hid behind his defender. If Timo Werner could finish his dinner and Richarlison could finish his dinner, Brennan Johnson would have a lot more assists and would be on the 20 goals and assists range because he got, what was it? He got 15
goal contributions.
He would be on 20 goal contributions because the amount of goals that Richarlison and Werner missed. And we'd be saying he had a really good season, actually. We can say he's shite for all we want. But he had a good season if he's got 20 goals and assists. So I think Brennan Johnson needs a bit of time. He is more potent off the bench at this moment in time, but I see him growing into a fairly decent footballer. And I think we need to look at it.
And before we go to our resident Welshman, I just want to say we've just hit over the 600 people barrier joining us today. So once again, it's Sunday evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us and spending the time with us. Looks like Sunday Brews by popular demand might be a regular thing, or Brews on a Sunday, whatever.
Easy like Sunday evening.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go to our resident Welshman. Dave.
Oh, here we go again with Brennan Johnson. First of all, yeah, it's always the thing, right? First of all, right, his price tag. Everyone whinges about that. You didn't pay the money out of your back pocket, Levy did. Ange wanted him, Levy bought him. You want to back the manager? There's backing the manager, regardless if you like the player or not. Secondly, right, 15 goals and assists, right, in his first season at a big club, after his second season in the Premier League, playing for Nottingham Forest, yeah? He's one of 4 players in our entire history to get more than 10 goals and assists within their first season. So bear that in mind. His take-ons and everything, I agree. Style of football limits him doing that. If you watch the games, and style of football pushes him very, very out wide. Which also, when you have inverted fullbacks pushing into the midfield and overflowing it, defences push back, gives no room to do take-ons. Brennan will be much better next season. I guarantee you that. Now, I've seen people crying for Rafinha from Barcelona, yeah? Go compare their stats. Trust me, Brennan Johnson's stats this season are much, much better. Right? So, for me, this whole thing about Brennan Johnson is because they didn't get the player they wanted. Simple as. It's just because they didn't get the player they wanted. So, let's kick off with the Welsh lad. A young kid who's done more than most players have who's come to our game. You could talk about every player. Majority that we've signed recently, yeah, have done nothing for this club. The Ndombeles, the Lo Celsos, the Vermers, even Maddison. Brennan Johnson's created more goals than Maddison, who's meant to be our creative player. But he's bad. It doesn't make sense. 15 goals and assists in his first season. Take them away, we wouldn't be sitting in Europe now.
So I will say on this now, because I've seen a couple of comments saying, obviously, because of your Welsh heritage, a bit of bias, which is understandable. But I am going to say I am not Welsh. I have no bias towards Wales, and I'm on the side of David. I've said it on most of the shows I've got on, especially when I've been on We Are Tottenham TV. I always give a player a pre-season with the manager, whoever that manager may be. Brennan Johnson came at the end of the season, at the end of the window, my bad, had no pre-season. I don't think he was meant to be a starter, but because of poor form and injuries, he got put in straight away. he did get 15 goals. Listen, don't get me wrong. His decision making in some things have been woeful.
He's 22, Brian. He's 22.
I know. But Ben, let me finish. Some of his decisions, and I'll give you the prime example. I can't remember what home game it was when he tried to play the ball. He tried to take a shot from a tight angle. I think it might have been Burnley, but instead of squaring it, he went for it and it didn't even hit the post, he hit the side netting. His decision making needs to greatly improve.
Yeah.
This guy is blessed with pace and needs to have more. I keep liking him, but the dream winger, I would love us if we could sign him in our if he could come back in his prime right now. And the first proper left winger that I fell in love with was Chris Waddle. Chris Waddle used to get the ball, get to the byline, and literally you could guarantee 9 times out of 10 he's putting the ball in a dangerous area that a striker should be there or an on-running midfielder, whatever. I think there is something in Brennan Johnson. Not saying he's going to set the world alight next season.
Absolutely.
I think the way I do it is I am always prepared to give a player a pre-season with the manager. Now, if Brennan Johnson can't sort out the decision-making and certain aspects of his games that I feel need to improve, and a lot of people in the chat that don't like him may see he needs to improve in this, and this. He's got this season to get it right. Like I said, I said going into this window, I love Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I thought for the first 2 seasons under Conte and Jose, obviously Jose first, I thought he was sensational.
Yeah.
I thought it was sensational. Wales have just gone 1-0 down, obviously. Yeah, you can see that. I said, I don't care if the manager wants them. It doesn't matter about how much I love a player or how much I think they're good. If Spurs need to get an upgrade in, you get an upgrade.
15 goals and assists in his first season, though, Brian, is not bad,
you're right.
It?
Brennan Johnson, and I will say even Colin Cross, who was in the chat, was the first person before it became huge, and I'll always credit him with this, that was saying that this is going to happen. Keep your eyes peeled. When we first signed him, even when we were at your shop, Ben, for the transfer window, I did not understand the transfer at all. I was like, we need a striker to replace Kane. We need a striker. Whatever happened.
Right. I'd like to question. Sorry, mate. I'd like to question people like this. Yeah. Realistically now, who do you believe would come in then? You're saying Brennan Johnson was mediocre by getting 15 goals and assists. You say his entire gameplay was bad. He still got 15 goals and assists. I don't get when people say he was bad, he was crap, he was this, but yet he got more assists than Maddison. He got 15 goals and assists. What more could he do? I don't get it. What is it? How's that mediocre?
He needs to get 30, David. He needs to get 30.
He needs to hit Harry Kane's numbers.
This is the thing, and with the comment you brought up with Sky was saying, what's wrong with wanting good players? There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But like I said, the way I judge a player...
If it weren't for Timo Werner and Richarlison, Brennan Johnson would be on...
Sonny.
And Sonny as well. And Sonny as well. He would be on 20-plus goals and assists for the season. We'd be saying, you know what, this boy had a really good season. But
like
because
I said,
the rest of them couldn't finish their dinner...
Ben,
him, by the way, he needs to improve his finishing. He does need to improve his finishing.
He does.
Oh, yeah, he really
needs to improve his finishing. I will question. I've questioned him a lot this season.
As I just said with Ange, when we're speaking about Ange, the spotlight is a lot brighter on Ange this season than it was last season. And exactly the same with Brennan Johnson. Listen, if Brennan Johnson does not perform come January, I will be one of the first. Like, listen, I tried to give him a chance. I wanted him to succeed. It's not working. We need to cut ties because this is what the big teams do. They bring a player in.
That's why we need a better player to go above him so he can do what he's been doing best recently, which is to be a good impact player. Yeah,
completely, Ben. But this is the thing. If the big clubs, you go to a big club, if it's not working for 2-3 seasons or 2 seasons, they're like, you're not fit for purpose. We're moving you on and we're going down a different road. If it comes to January, I will be right. We need to find someone better. But then the thing is, what I want to see is if Brennan Johnson does have a very, very good preseason under Ange, and then does start performing, and does do it to a high level, then people have got to be able to come and say, do you know what?
I put my hands up.
Yeah, that's the thing. I will, if Brennan Johnson is diabolical next season or it doesn't meet what I deem in my personal as improvement, I will come up here and say, do you know what? I tried to give Brennan Johnson a chance. I tried to back him, but he hasn't done enough for me, and I was wrong.
I'd be the exact same, Brian.
Exactly.
I'd be the exact same.
Exactly.
And the 54 million price tag, whatever it is, it's because he's 22 years of age. That's why he's that expensive. He's not. If he was 30, it wouldn't be 50. You're buying a player with a high-ish ceiling that's got room to develop, and as a winger has time to develop his finishing in the game. Not every. It depends. Ian Wright didn't become a good player until he was 24.
Yeah.
Listen, this is the thing, Andrews. We look at the game differently. We may feel the same way about the board, but this is what we do. We debate on these shows and we do everything. I have said it doesn't matter what player comes in. Doesn't matter. If we sign them, whether I think they're a good player or not, whether I think they better Spurs or not, I will still always give them a pre-season with the manager.
Yeah.
Because then they've got the fitness the way the manager wants it. They've had that pre-season to understand and identify what the player or what the manager is asking of the player. And they've got no excuses, especially if they come through it. You look at Timo Werner, who is a different kettle of fish. He's going to be injured for most of this pre-season. When he does come back, he's going to have to play catch-up. Hopefully, Brennan Johnson has his summer, comes back on day one of pre-season, and can have that pre-season under Ange. That will then be like, right, let's see what kind of player we got here. Is there is there better out there? Could we get better? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I think right now one of the main things that Spurs need to address is trying to find someone better than Brennan Johnson to take over his place? No, I think there's much more pressing matters at hand. A left centre-back, the midfield, a striker.
Yeah.
I think they are much, much better and bigger fish to fry. And if we do need to upgrade on Brennan Johnson come January or next summer, and he hasn't set a higher standard than he has this season, I'll be all for it. I'll be all for it.
And by the way, this is not MZ told me this herself. She sent me a private message. She criticised Brennan Johnson and she slept on the sofa for a night. I know that for a fact. He kicked her out of the bed. He was like, no lady of mine is criticising Brennan Johnson on the sofa, lass.
Exactly. And do you know what? There's another question that's come in. I don't know if any more have come in, but I've started it. And it's from Adrian. Big up, Adrian. Are we talking about Liverpool Jota or are we talking ex-Celtic Jota? I wouldn't imagine it was Liverpool. I'd have to say it's probably Celtic who's got out to Saudi. One of you two want to go?
No.
No, you don't want to go, or no, you don't want him?
I don't want him. No. Move on.
Yeah.
All I will say is if this rumour becomes more than a rumour, again, this is where I'll flip it over and I'll say this is a certain area where obviously there's the link between Ange Postecoglou and whatever. But this will, thanks, Adrian, this will mean that we're looking at the cheaper options again. This will mean, okay, we're not going to flex our financial muscle that we've got, as we all know. We've cleared the wage bill, as we know. If Jota, listen, things like this, the link is always going to be there. Look at Crouchy and Defoe and Cruncher and everyone. Whenever Harry Redknapp went anywhere, managers have an attachment to certain players, and they go and do well. Look at Pierre right now. Jose and Conte want him right now. This link won't go away. But if this rumour starts taking over an Eze, starts taking over a Morgan Gibbs-White, starts taking over a Gallagher, then the last part of this sentence will lead me down the path of this isn't Ange Postecoglou. This is an opportunity. That good old word, opportunity, rearing its ugly head. So that's where I get with it. Scott, Andrews, my standards have not dropped at all, buddies. You guys are getting it very, very mixed up where I stand with the players and where I stand with the board. I stand very, very heavily with the board because I don't agree with you with Brennan Johnson does not mean my standards have dropped in any way, size, shape or form. I believe the player can come on and do something. If he's wrong, I will come out here and go, Andre, Scott M, you were right, you were right. Let's see if it's the other way round and he does take off.
I mean, 15 goals and assists in his first season is not that bad. It's not bad. It's
and
not.
People say the
it's
thing
not a
is,
bad
people
return.
yeah, but people saying, "Oh, look at some of his assists; they're not really assists," but they are. If he passes the ball to another player and they score, it's an assist. If he doesn't make that pass, the goal doesn't go in. Stats can be misleading. I agree. No, but I agree. Stats can be misleading. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to assists, yes, some assists, I get it. But then you look at Sonny's goal. I can't remember who it was against, where Brennan heads it to Maddison, runs on, gets into the box, man passes him, and he passes it to Sonny. Is that not great play, or is that just fake stat? Don't get me wrong, Brennan Johnson was poor for a lot of last season, and he will improve. That's why I'm saying, and that's why I will defend him at the moment, because I know next season he will shut a lot of mouths up because he has the ability to do that. He came in with no preseason, came in injured, got a bad injury, got thrown in when he shouldn't have done because he was meant to be eased in. And yet he still produced 15 goals and assists. He missed loads of goals. By the way, his finishing was Timo Werner finishing.
Yeah. Put a better player above him for someone for Brennan Johnson to compete with, and you'll see a lot better Brennan Johnson because he'll be working with someone, and you will see an improvement. Him not having to play every week, having to get that hunger back into him. So, yes, get it for all for sure. Get a better player in on top of him. Get a Rafinha to play in front of him. But
to learn off.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just want to say one other thing very quickly. Just going to say one other thing. I've just seen on my Twitter someone that I speak to, Glover, has just said, can you give Andrew a shout out? It's his birthday. So, Andrew, if you are watching, Glover, happy birthday from everyone at Tottenham on tour. Yeah. And on that note, we're only going to be going for an hour and 50. Go on, bro. Go on.
One more question. Go on. Just because don't want to leave anyone out. It's not what we do here. Ty's coming. How would you fix the homegrown issue that Spurs have? And do you think that Ange will lose the fans if he doesn't turn to the academy soon while it's prospering? That's a bloody good question. I'll go first then.
Go on.
I don't think Ange necessarily will lose the fans if he doesn't use youth. I think it'll be really stupid of him not to give some of them opportunities. For people who think the likes of Mikey Moore and that, no, he's 16 years old. He's way too young to throw into any first team at the moment. Donnelly, Lancashire, and what's his name? Sorry, I forgot. John
Santiago.
Is it John? Santiago, that's it. I think it's John
Phillips,
as well. In
Ashley Phillips needs a chance as well.
I think it's, for me, Ashley Phillips, I don't think you'd put him in the category of that homegrown issue at the moment. I think he needs another loan or something like that. As a defender, I think he needs another loan. With the likes of Donnelly and Santiago and Lancashire, it's okay for them not to go out on loan just yet. You could put them in, let them have a couple of like pre-season games, things like that. I think we need to bring in homegrown players. That's why I think the likes of EzE, we're looking at Gallagher and stuff. It makes sense looking at them because then you fill the squad with proper, already set, ready homegrown players. Then you bring in the Donnellys, the Lancashires, the Santiagos, players like that to hit little games, come on for the 10 minutes in a Europa League game or a Carabao game or something like that. To throw them in right now, albeit they are amazing, I just don't think they're ready. I think they all need loans, personally. And I think we need to fill the squad with actual ready homegrown players rather than just looking directly at the youth. So I think that's my opinion on it. Whether you agree or not, it's up to you, but that's how I see it should be done.
Go on, Benny boy.
I agree with David. I think we need to buy some homegrown players from other clubs. So it's why I'd like a Gray. It's why I want an EzE. It's why I want players of that ilk. Even if it means getting a Conor Gallagher as well. As much as I really don't want Conor Gallagher, and I don't want Conor getting players that are English for the squad will benefit the squad because it means we can have more room to buy quality foreign players. So we do need some homegrown players because we are massively lacking at the moment in terms of homegrown talent. And that is going to be a thing. I think further down the line, I think homegrown is going to really start to be a thing. And they need to bring it in more. So we do need to be signing some higher quality homegrown talent because there are a few really good players about that would get into our side.
There are. I mean, you've got Ashley Phillips. Is when we signed him, I put a tweet out saying it's 2029, and Spurs are walking out of the tunnel, and Ashley Phillips is wearing the captain's armband. I think is going to be honestly something. I've said it before. I've never met a Blackburn fan in England. Moved to Toronto. One of my wife's best mates' fiance is a Blackburn Rovers fan, and watches the youth a lot. And we're saying we've got something special here. And tell him before we even live with him. And you've seen when he's gone to Plymouth, he's done it. We do have a very, very exciting crop of youngsters coming through. There's no denying it. You've seen not just Spurs fans saying it. You've seen reporters saying it. You've seen the eyes are upon us. It's now how do we use it? What I would really like to see is, for instance, whether it would happen or not, I would love to see Alfie Dorrington and Ashley Phillips go on loan to the same team.
Yeah.
Build that partnership up and play alongside each other, not play for two different managers.
Yeah.
Build up that relationship. Obviously, it's different for the other players. I'm not going to go into Alfie Devine because people know my feelings on it. There are an incredible crop of youngsters. For once, we have to make sure we look after them. Whichever one it may be, I think from what we're seeing as well, there is going to be some changing around the backroom staff at Tottenham, and I don't think it will just be Angie's staff. I think the youth team will get a shake, or not the management, but the way they deal. Paratici come in and revitalised all of that. I think right now there's going to be a big change or a big way that they look at this because we do have a crop of youngsters coming through. Obviously, people will go back and look at, and we talk Alan Hansford, God bless and hope he's recovering, that you can't win anything with kids, and we know what happened. I'm not saying that they're at that elite level. I'm never going to say that. But we have a crop of youngsters coming through that is very, very exciting. So let's hope we manage it correctly and do so. And Andrews, any cheese updates? No, none at the moment, but I am looking forward to diving into my sticky toffee cheese that I bought yesterday, as well as my Wensleydale with blueberries, which was incredible at this cheese shop we went to. But that is going to wrap it up for today. 640 of you in here. Thank you so very much for joining us. Just so you know, this week, as Ben is back, Morning Brews will be back with the Cough and Roadman at the normal time, 9 till 9:30, 10 UK time. And every day this week, there will be Evening Brews. I will have Johnny with me a couple of days. I will have Ben Daniel from We Are Tottenham TV for at least one of them. So that I'm going to get some new people on to host with me and have a general chit chat. So you will see a lot of Morning Brews. You will see a lot of Evening Brews. So, Dave, any passing or ending comments?
Yeah, 14th. Get that date in your diary because at 6 p.m. I will be doing transfers on tour. It will officially go live on Friday. We had a little trial run, didn't we? And people seem to like the style of things we've done and how we're setting things up. So yeah, on the 14th, transfers on tour will be official. I hope I'm busy as hell. I hope loads of people are sitting here watching me like this. 627 people. Big up everyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everyone's opinions. Everyone has an opinion. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter because opinions are just opinions. Yeah. But come transfers, I will be doing my best. Hopefully bringing you news. Hopefully we get loads of here we goes, everything like that. So yeah, 14th, Friday, 6 p.m.
There we go, Ben.
Well, it's that time of the show, everyone, where we do have to do an apology. So from everyone here at Tottenham on Tour, I would like to deeply apologise for anyone my height has offended. I'm sorry I was born at 5'11". I can't control the way I was. But if you are offended by me being 5'11", Tottenham on Tour deeply apologises. We will try and do better in the future. But on that note, thank you all so much for watching today's show. Have a great rest of your evening. Catchphrase, David?
Don't man need mind.
That's Here we go. I've learned Welsh. It's here we go.
And as always, if you smell what the cough is brewing, and
as always, Levy out.